Hi friends, Namaskar Mitron, this is Anupam V. Kapil with you. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening on the 5th of May starting at 8:30 pm. It will end on 1:14 am of the next day. This eclipse brings good news for some Rashis and not so good news for the other Rashis. Those who are going to have a tough time are all those who have Sun or Moon in Libra, those who have a Rahu Moon combination or a Ketu Moon combination, or any planet with Rahu or Ketu in Libra. Now, what do you have to do and what are the symptoms? How do you come to know if it is good or bad? 2 days before the eclipse and few days later also, there will be lethargy, extreme laziness, inertia and depression, loneliness, and also a feeling that work is not happening and you don't feel like talking with anybody. You'll feel introvert. Do some remedies during the eclipse. Chant the Mahamrityunjay mantra. If you can't chant this mantra, do any mantra which you do on your regular basis, because the etheric field is very close to the earth, and any mantra chanted during the eclipse gives the effect and potency of such a mantra. The efficacy is about 10,000 times more. So please do it and protect yourself. They say in the Brihat Samhita, there is a quote which says that just like a king remains satisfied and quiet when the rich people are serving him, similarly the planets are pacified when gifts or daan is given during that time. After the eclipse, you must definitely do daan. Anna daan is the most shrestha daan. Food stuff like rice, jaggery, ghee, wheat must be given after touching, and it will give you good protection. So what are the effects of the lunar eclipse in Libra for the country? See, when the lunar eclipse happens in Libra, there is a sense of dissatisfaction amongst the people. But the effect on the commodities is such that the price of wheat, jaggery, sugar, ghee, oil, pepper, turmeric, these prices will go up. And this eclipse is good for traders, especially those who are dealing with iron. They will have huge profits, and those dealing in the business of gold and silver will have moderate profits. There will be a bullish trend in copper, and price of weapons and machines will increase. Effect on rains, except barring Punjab, Travancore and Cochin Malabar coast, there is good rainfall in the rest of the country. Even the crops of these places will not do well, the places which I have indicated. Effects of the lunar eclipse. How do you determine whether it's going to be good or bad for the country? The Bhadra Bahu Samhita gives us a clue on this. He says, the author says that you look at the sky after the lunar eclipse is over. If it is bright yellow, the general population of the country will suffer. If it is going to be extra white, the Brahmins will suffer. If it is going to be yellow, the prostitutes will suffer. If it is going to be red, the Kshatriyas, that is the army, corps, police will suffer. So this is the thing what he has outlined. And if it is going to be grey, the Shudras will suffer. That is the language given in the Bhadra Bahu Samhita. Now the areas affected will be, it says that there will be trouble to animals, and the people of Bihar and UP will have to face different type of diseases. The grain trade, however, prospers, and this eclipse is taking place in Swati and Vishaka Nakshatra. Therefore, the 3rd, 5th and 9th month after the eclipse will show a raise and profit to the grain trade. That's how we see the effect of the eclipse. Aries. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 7th house. Ketu is in the 7th house. The eclipse is happening in Libra, and Moon is your 4th lord. The 4th lord has to do with the mother, for domestic happiness and peace of mind. Now, since this eclipse is happening in the 7th house, there will be slight hurdles and delays in your profession, but this is going to be only for a few days. However, if you have any competitive situation where you are participating in any tender or in any litigation, this will go in your favor. Taurus, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 6th house. I know Taurus has been going under a little bit of stress, in fact a lot of stress of late, but now this eclipse in the 6th house is going to reduce your stress to that effect that you will be able to win in competition and competitive situations. However, there is one statutory warning. As the 3rd Lord Moon is involved in the eclipse in the 6th house, there may be some problem with communication with your neighbors. Do not fight with them. Secondly, as the 7th Lord Mars is getting debilitated in Cancer, there are likely to be some kind of friction with your wife or your husband. Just avoid it for a couple of weeks and all will be well. Gemini. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 5th house. The 5th house stands for children, for lotteries and for stock markets. Now, because Moon is the second lord and it has got afflicted here, so I would advise you to postpone your financial major decisions for the next few weeks. Jupiter, your career lord, has moved out of combustion and this is good for you. But between the 17th to 30th of May, you're going to experience some kind of tension or worry regarding your profession or postings if you're about to get posted. But this is very temporary. From June, it's a very good period. Jupiter is very favorable for gains. However, since the 5th house is involved in this lunar eclipse, you need to take attention of your child. Cancer. See, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 4th house. As we all know in astrology, that the 4th house has to do with comforts. The Rashi Lord Moon is involved in this eclipse in the 4th house. So when the Rashi Lord, which signifies everything, your constitution, physical, mental, this is going to be a little upset for about 3 weeks or so, because the 4th house is not a good house for the conjunction to take place. You need to take care of your own health, mental health, and specifically of your mother's health, because this is likely to worry you a bit. And if you are planning to travel, I would advise you that Moon is also connected with travel. When it gets disturbed, you need to postpone your travel by a couple of weeks and make sure, if you have to travel in urgency, that your vehicle is serviced properly and there is no technical problem in your vehicle. Leo. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 3rd house. The 3rd house has to do with parakram, victory, achievements. You're going to get all of these. There are also going to be short travels which are going to lead to gains, and there might also be some kind of spiritual or pleasure travel involved. Only one thing is there, that your expenses are bound to rise and unnecessary expenses can be taken care of if you plan properly. Virgo. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 2nd house. Now, what is the 2nd house? The 2nd house has to do with shared resources, with wealth and speech. So you have to be very careful of your speech. You need to take care of your health. And if there is any kind of disharmony prevailing between friendships, either through communications, you should try to douse the fire down. Otherwise, you will lose this friend or friends permanently. Any enmity of any kind or animosity done during this time will bring you very bad gains. And if you bring enmity, if the friend is disturbed, even Jupiter will start giving you malefic results. Libra. The first lunar eclipse of 2023 is taking place in your Rashi. If your sun is also in Libra, then this eclipse will affect people on the father side of the family. And since it is happening in your Rashi, it is affecting you a lot, and your profession also, because the 10th Lord Moon, which has to do with your career and profession, is involved in the eclipse. So what does it do? It gives you a lot of strain on the professional front, a lot of uncertainties and a lot of questions which remain unanswered. So what do you need to do? Firstly, you need to protect your image and also your health, and for that take 4 coconuts, dry coconuts which make a noise when you shake them. Go to the river, go before 6 o'clock and take a bucket of milk, 4 liters milk, and immerse 400 kgs of barley in it and mix the barley. See, barley is Rahu, milk is the moon. Mix them, do the Rahu mantra, Om Raha Rahave Namah 108 times, and look at the sun god and just pray that all your bad karma should get over, and whatever eclipse effects you are going to get, malefic effects, should be over, destroyed. And just pour that bucket inside the contents of the bucket inside the water. Leave the bucket there, don't get the bucket home. And after that, one by one, Om Sham Shanishwaraya Namah, you chant on each of these coconuts and throw it in the water. you will get immediate relief within 15 minutes. You will feel very relaxed. You can try it and tell me. Scorpio, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 12th house. The 12th house has to do with expenditures, unnecessary expenditures, and also it has to do with medical health, hospitals. So in all probability, we see a lot of expenditure happening on that account. I also see you traveling. You may be traveling abroad. Most of you might plan long distance travels, but ensure that some remedy for the moon is done by you, because some kind of obstacle or problem is seen. The simplest remedy which you can do anywhere if you're traveling in India, or even when you're leaving home before traveling, go to a Ganesha temple. Om Ganganapatahe Nama. This is a Bij mantra. You can do this and offer a little bit of Durva grass to Ganpati ji, and take 2 or 3 strands of that Durva and keep it in your pocket while traveling. You can give all this to all your family members also, 2 strands each to all your family members. I can assure you that there will be no Vigna when you pray to the Vignaharta. There will be no trouble in your travels. Sagittarius, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 11th house. The 11th house stands for overall gains, gains from fixed assets, friendships, and various sources of income. Now this eclipse happening in your 11th house bodes good for you. It brings you good news. New opportunities of financial avenues open up before you. Friends will be helpful. One thing is there, that Jupiter, your Rashi Lord, was afflicted for a long time, and that is why you had been disturbed in the past, even during the solar eclipse. But now there will be some relief. The best time will start only after June 17th to 30th. You will have some kind of mental tension, because Jupiter is going to be in very close proximity degree wise with Rahu. So some remedy to strengthen Jupiter is needed. I would give you an easy remedy which you will enjoy. Eat 3 oranges a day and see, not only will your face glow because of the vitamin C in it, but it will make an overall impact on the strength of Jupiter. Capricorn, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 10th house. The 10th house stands for your prestige, power, position, name, fame, social standing, and business. All these things which I have mentioned, for you, these are going to be under favorable influence. New sources of opportunities open up, new contacts, and also women in particular are going to be favorable for you in advancing your career. I know in the past the Capricorn natives had been going through some health issues because of the solar eclipse which recently took place in Aries. However, those effects are very temporary, and the ill effects would have gone in 2 weeks, because the solar eclipse was not visible in India. Now just get ready to enjoy and take advantage of the boom which is portrayed by your planets, and smile. Aquarius, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is taking place in your 9th house. The 9th house stands for Bhagya, Dharma, long distance travels, whether for pleasure or whether for spiritual purposes. So this eclipse is affording you a wonderful time to engage in acts of piety, charity, and annadan, especially after the eclipse gets over. Because this eclipse is getting over in the night, you may do charity of food stuff involving rice, involving wheat, ghee, and all these things in the morning, in the first 2 hours after sunrise. There will be gain from property sale or through property in general, and also you are destined to travel, and there will be pleasure in the travel. Pisces, the first lunar eclipse of 2023 is happening in your 8th house. 8th house is a very difficult house in astrology. It is called as the house of longevity, but some Western classics also call it as the house of death. The 5th Lord Moon is involved in the eclipse in the 8th house. 8th house has to do with hidden enemies, with secrets, and it also gives sometimes sudden gains, lotteries also. But here I don't see anything of that good thing happening, because the fifth lord moon has to do with love affairs, which I see are going to be under pressure. A lot of them can break. Secondly, it has to do with your children. There will be some problem on account of children, and I would advise you to stay away from the stock markets and any kind of speculative forms so that you avoid losses. I want to give you a small tip. Do remedies of the moon. Keep a square piece of fat silver piece with you along, and drink water from a silver glass. And the remedies which involve throwing 4 coconuts into the water after chanting Om Sham Shanishcharai Nama about 108 times. But before this, you must mix 400 grams of barley in milk, mix it, chanting Om Raha Rahave Nama, and dump all the contents of the bucket in the water. And then you throw the coconuts in the water. This shall give you a lot of mental relief and create a protective barrier around you to save you from the harmful effects of this eclipse.